let's get into it. Number one, and this is one that I've struggled with. I figured out where I am on it, and I feel like everybody else pretty much has, but this is one that's been really interesting the last couple of years. Allen Iverson and Kyrie Irving. Between those two guys, and let's start with Blake. Between those two guys, who do you think optimized their primes better? And I know Kyrie still has some years on him left to go, but at least from the best we saw from Kyrie, right, which we still probably maybe haven't seen, but let's assume that we already saw the best of Kyrie probably during his Cleveland days, right? Was Kyrie Irving's peak, let's say that already happened, better than what Allen Iverson was able to do during his peak?
I don't think so. Me personally, I think if you go like player for player, I'll always take AI, but I feel like at his peak, AI was the better basketball player, especially like at his what he was doing at his size and the era that he was in. No, we ain't talking about like he's some AI was a little dude.
He's 6 foot, barely
small dude, averaging close to 30, and that was a much more physical era than it is now. Granted, I mean, I feel like especially those early years when he was in Philly, he didn't really get the help that he should have from teammate wise. I think when you compare it, Kyrie has been blessed more so with more help with it from different teams he's been on than AI. Because I think like AI is what his second best option on the Philly teams was Eric Snow.
Probably a bunch of
Jesus
different.
Christ.
Yeah. I mean, there was But I mean, there was an Iguodala thrown in there a couple of, you know what I mean? But yeah.
Well, Iguodala, he was on the come up then, so that
he wasn't even there yet.
Yeah, but Blake does make a valid point because I'm just thinking back now. Allen Iverson's peak, he was able to at least make a team competitive, at least get them to the finals by getting the MVP that season and averaging 30 or whatever. But Kyrie, before LeBron came there, and he had a few seasons under his belt before LeBron came there, so he had enough experience to at least get the Cleveland Cavaliers to the playoffs, and he never did that. I'm just not thinking about that. So there's like that factor into it too.
No, I don't think so.
But it might not because it's prime.
Yeah, and so so Kyrie had 3 years before LeBron came, right?
Yeah,
and then 3 or 4. And let's remember, so 2012 he was a rookie. 2013, second year, made his first All-Star. 2014, third year, made his second All-Star. So year 4, Bron comes in. That Cavaliers team, the era they were in, like during his younger years, nothing was going to happen. This was a city still.
That's true. They was
on the heat. This is like he was the guy right after the expectations that were on him. He was the supposed to be the savior of Cleveland. Like right after LeBron James leaves, that's a city that's trying to recover. His second player is probably, I forget who the hell was on those teams.
CJ Miles.
A bunch of dudes. You know what I mean?
CJ Miles.
So I want to go a couple ways here. So I want to go, Blake mentioned the thing about Iverson. What makes Iverson special, for one, was his size. At that time, for him to dominate a game that was really size oriented, maybe not as much as his position as it was today, but for him to do what he did at that size is special, because I think that's something we're rarely going to see these next couple of years down the road, these next couple of decades, is a little guy be able to lead his team to that much success. The closest who did it was Isaiah Thomas in 2017.
You see what they did to him.
Exactly. But I think that's going to be, we talk about like these phenoms or whatever. That's going to be another major phenom is, are we ever going to see a guy under 6 foot lead a team like that? So that's what made Iverson.
I hope so. You kind of, if we can bridge sports real quick, you kind of starting to see it at the quarterback position in the NFL, especially last couple of years with in the draft. Bryce Young, Kyler Murray, Russell Wilson going back.
Yeah.
I really hope we can get at least something like that in the NBA, because it's just something different.
Yeah, the smaller guard play. Yeah.
And I feel like there's people out here that's capable of it. It's just
me, you,
crazy. But it's like it's tough. It's so tough now because we're talking about guys that we may never see again. Now teams are drafting based. It's just going to come down to defense, and teams aren't going to put you on the floor if you're not going to be able to be, impactful on the defensive end. And Iverson was a solid defender, obviously in his prime. But like I said, that's what made him so special. Is we're really not going to see that in a very, very long time. We're going to see more big men. It'll be more common to see 7-footers bringing the ball up court and playmaking than it would be to see a 5'11" guy leading his team to an actual good record. So there's the pro Iverson stuff. The reason I'm picking Kyrie is because while he didn't necessarily lead his team to a championship, well,
he helped.
But Kyrie was as important to Cleveland that series as LeBron James.
That's why I said he helped. So I'm not really willing to say he didn't lead because balling like he was leading somewhere.
What if I was saying, like, I don't think we ever saw a point guard play better than that in the history of the NBA Finals. I think Kyrie, what he did in 2006, first of all, what him and Bron did, but what Kyrie did in 2016, we've yet to see a point guard play at that level. And John mentioned it when we potted with him. They were down 3-1, right? So the next three, he had to win 3 in a row to win the series. 3 games in a row, you were in desperation mode. You're playing the team with the greatest record ever, a bunch of great individual defenders. Klay Thompson at that time is one of the best perimeter defenders. You're in desperation mode, and you're playing out of your mind. I think that's the peak of point guard play in the NBA Finals, what Kyrie was able to do. So that's why I give him the edge, because we literally saw him reach a level that I don't think any other point guard in the history of the game has been able to reach, at least at the championship level.
I think Steph kind of reached that level.
He came close in 2022, and Steph in 2002 was interesting, but I don't think the stakes were as high because, like I said, you're talking about, for one, potentially losing 2 finals in a row. 2, you're coming from down 3-1 against the 73-9 Warriors.
Also,
they did give the Warriors a 6% chance to win that series.
That is an interesting fact. Very true.
Also, the thing is, Kyrie was locking stuff up on the other end because the only reason the Cavaliers had a chance was because their defense just started locking Golden State down, and Steph wasn't playing like Steph those last 3 games. I think people forget that Kyrie was locking his ass down the other end too. But it's just the duo of LeBron and then Kyrie were we all used to watch. We was like, damn, these dudes probably can win a couple rings. And then the KD thing happened. So them tag team against Golden State can only get them so far against KD. We said last episode, KD, Steph and Klay. But that's a good point. He did, because you have to give him credit for that, because he did have just as much as a hand as Bron had in that championship run. It's like a 50-50. It was a 50-50 thing for me.
And I would argue, and you guys can let me know. I was arguing with my dad about this. I legitimately think that Kyrie hit the best, the biggest, if not one of the 3 biggest shots in the NBA history. That go ahead 3 is up there as one of the 3 most important. It wins you the biggest championship ever. You know what I mean? In the history of the game of basketball, you're doing it against. He made it over Steph. So you're doing it against the guy you're competing for at that top point guard spot. I just think what he did, if his peak is 2016 and AI's peak is 2001, what AI did obviously was impressive, being able to get that Sixers team there, and their path to that to that final series was very tough too.
It was.
But I think what Kyrie did in 2016 is just something that it's tough to replicate.
It's just hard though, because like you're saying, you're talking about Kyrie's peak in 2016. Allen Iverson didn't have LeBron either, so that's why it's kind of it's a difference. That's what I'm saying. So he didn't have LeBron. Allen Iverson was the LeBron, he was the LeBron of that series, and he didn't have. And obviously he didn't.
He was LeBron and Kyrie combined.
Right. He was double.
So you really can't be wrong picking Allen Iverson in this case, because it's 2 different situations. Not saying Kyrie couldn't have done the same things Allen Iverson has done, but we just haven't seen it, and he's just been hurt a lot, basically his whole career, really, especially the last 5-6 years. But which one am I gonna pick? That's tough.
I give Kyrie that edge just because I just don't think we've seen any point guard play that well. That's just we've seen guys play dominantly, but in the stakes they were playing at, that's why I can never say anything about Kyrie. There'll never be higher stakes than going to be higher stakes than that.
I think if he kept that level of play up, say they win next year, I'm starting to think he's the best point guard I've ever seen in my life. I'm so serious. Well, I already think that talent-wise, I just can't say it legacy-wise, because obviously he doesn't stack up his Magic and stuff. But talent-wise, I think he's the best I've ever seen. But that's tough. I don't know.
And AI is also dominating as a small guy too. To balance his stuff out.
He's shorter. He was shorter, 3 inches shorter.
and there's not as much spacing. So I think that's one thing about those early 2000s is it's a more physical game, but the lack of spacing. Those guys, for them to score like that in a more closed up court, and for him to do that,
he got hurt a lot.
He did. He hit the ground a lot. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Now, if we talking handles, though, I'm gonna clearly pick Kyrie. Yeah, that'd be obvious. That'd be obvious for me.
Yeah.
I mean, just overall scoring, just overall better player. You gotta go. Yeah.
I don't know, Blake, because
Kyrie got some crazy highlights, man.
The only thing Kyrie has AI in is probably
mid-range.
It's a few things he got better than him. I'll be honest.
Yeah,
he's a better shooter.
Here's what I said about
shooting was.
Here's what I said about Kyrie, Blake. I said everything Kyrie Irving does and on the offensive end is an A from a scoring standpoint is an A plus.
Yeah, he don't have a weakness.
I don't think he has a scoring. There's not anything Kyrie. There's no game plan against Kyrie. Like everything he does from a scoring standpoint, he has everything in his arsenal. Everything.
Yeah, Allen Iverson did too, but he can be on the Russell Westbrook side of the game. And when I say that, I mean he can sometimes be inefficient at times. He wasn't the most efficient player, but that wasn't his game. But Kyrie literally is an efficient player. That's what makes him great. Is he's an efficient player at the same time.
While hitting though, like you look at the degree of difficulty on his shots.
Yeah, I'm taking Kyrie.
I go Kyrie. 50, 40, 90 seasons, and that's nothing on AI though. But I think from a skill standpoint, and also just if we just take those two guys at their best, I love AI. And his 2001 season is one of the most special ever, and I don't think we're gonna see a little guy do that in a very, very long time. And not take anything away, Isaiah Thomas was the next up, and he almost did it with Boston. I think they got that series 7 pretty much, right?
Which Isaiah Thomas? Because remember the Pistons Isaiah Thomas did. He was smaller.
Boston.
I forgot about him.
Yeah, that Boston thing. We're not going to see that again, especially with the league now where everything is about. Unless you get this short guy, who's just like even them shorter like defenders, they're still going to get exploited.
5'11" and 6 foot is probably the best height. About as good as you can get it.
Yeah,
it does come along.
So I didn't believe it was when we told him Donovan Mitchell was 6'1".
I don't. Donovan Mitchell said he's 6'3".
That nigga lying. He's 6'1".
You think he's 6'3"?
He's 6'1". I think he's 6'1". He has long ass arms.
Nigga got a 6'10" wingspan. That's wild.
We gotta see him one day.
He does though, for real. That's what makes him.
Ain't no way Donovan Mitchell's 6'1", bro.
6'1".
That means he's shorter than
Steph. He's 6'2" max. I give him that maybe.
That means he's shorter than Steph.
Yeah, he is. Look up a picture of Steph and Donovan Mitchell. He probably should. Steph is a legit 6'3". We go see.
Steph was 6'2".
Oh,
I don't know. They could be lying. We wear shoes that make you taller by an inch, but
Steph be looking taller than okay, low key.
Yeah, he's 6'1", 6'1.5", maybe 6'1.5".
All right, he maybe.
And I was about to say it's funny that we bringing up Isaiah Thomas and they end up getting traded for each other. Kyrie and Isaiah Thomas. Kyrie went to the Celtics, and I kind of wish I'm never gonna be a Celtics fan, but I kind of do wish we saw Kyrie healthy enough to see what he could have done with that Celtics team. We never got to see it. He shouldn't have left. I think it was a mistake.
I think that what the Celtics did though that first year, like after he left Cleveland, they had like an 18-game winning streak. That team was really good. Remember, Gordon Hayward goes out. Like, what happens if Gordon Hayward doesn't have that horrific injury? Gordon Hayward was coming off of a great career in Utah at that point. You know what I mean? He's a very high quality player. And then I think they get to the Eastern Conference Finals, and obviously Kyrie's out. Like, there's a lot of what ifs for people who say things like, well, Kyrie can't lead a team or can't be the best player. That 2018 season, there were a lot of what ifs with Boston. You know what I'm saying? There were a lot. They were talking about them losing the two biggest guys they went and got in the offseason. They lost Gordon Hayward and Kyrie. Those are the two biggest players. Those are two all-stars they added to their roster. And by the end of the playoffs, they didn't have them.
Yeah. Yeah, because they faced LeBron in the Eastern Conference Finals. We always talk about LeBron probably not getting through that Celtics team with Kyrie because that Celtics team took them to 7 without Kyrie. So just do the math. It's that simple. They had Terry Rozier on that team.
Yeah,
Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart.
Yeah,
Avery Bradley. I don't know if he was still on that team, but but I'm gonna pick Kyrie though. Like I said.
Yeah, I give Kai the edge there.